Hello guys, welcome back to yet another video. Now today we are talking about Goku Black and Zamasu, comparing the English dub voices of the Goku Black and Zamasu voice in Dragon Ball Super, as well as the Xenoverse 2 and Fighters video games. I was initially inspired to do this because of Dragon Ball Super episode 59, as in that episode there is a scene with Goku Black and Zamasu sort of sharing dialogue and being in the same scene at once. Now, I believe that has happened once before, but that was interesting that particular time, because even though Goku Black was in base form, he transformed into the Super Saiyan Rose state as well, so we got a bit of a comparison between Zamasu, Goku Black's original base voice, and his Super Saiyan Rose performance. So that scene inspired me in Dragon Ball Super episode 59 to sort of make this video and to compare Goku Black's voice versus Zamasu. Now, before diving into the Dragon Ball Super dub as a whole, I want to first discuss pre-Dragon Ball Super, that being Xenoverse 2 and Dragon Ball Fighters. So going into performing as Goku Black for the pre-order DLC bonus for Xenoverse 2, and Xenoverse 2 aired in October of 2016, so they weren't even dubbing Dragon Ball Super at the time, because the Dragon Ball Super dub actually aired on Toonami in January of 2017. So they weren't even dubbing Dragon Ball Super, or at least the dub wasn't on the air yet. So going into the performance of Goku Black for the pre-order DLC bonus, Sean Schimmel didn't know the character of Black well because he probably didn't watch the Japanese, or were that familiar with the future Trunks arc material that Goku Black belonged in, so it was basically a stab of the dark of what sort of voice Goku Black should have in the English dub pre-Dragon Ball Super, of course, them actually going over the script and watching the anime. This is in the Xenoverse 2 days, where the DLC, was just coming out, the pre-order DLC. There was no DLC pack 1 or 2 or 3. Where the Goku Black Rose voice came along. It was just pre-order DLC, the base Goku Black voice. So they've publicly stated this on Twitter, saying that they really had no sort of prior knowledge of the Black character, and in saying that, the original base form Goku Black voice in Xenoverse 2 at least sounded like a sinister Super Saiyan 4 sort of gruff voice. It was quite jarring compared to the Masako Nozawa's performance as Goku Black. It was quite the difference there, since with Goku Black's original voice in Japanese, it was basically just an evil Goku. Essentially what Goku Black is, even though Goku Black is not really an evil Goku, it's just Zamasu with Goku's body. But yeah, it just sounded like an evil Goku, just some evil creature inhabiting Goku's body, and it just sounded more sinister than the regular Goku voice. But the dub, especially in Xenoverse 2 at least, that got lost in translation because Chris Sabat and Sean Schimmel didn't know the original source material, with the future Trunks arc and whatnot. So when DLC Pack 3 was released, they had Goku Black in the Super Saiyan Rose as a playable character, so they had to do the Super Saiyan Rose voice. Now in the Japanese dub there is a subtle sort of tonal change, not really an accent change, but more of a tone change. With Super Saiyan Rose, Nozawa seems a little more joyous and sort of pompous, a little more pretentious, kind of like that, and she sort of had like an upbeat sort of tone. It was just sort of a higher-pitched tone, less sinister and more sort of psychotic, and, sort of the Joker-esque, I guess, is the best way to put it. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it was just a slight higher tonal shift. So when DLC pack, when the third DLC pack was announced and released, and Goku Black Rose was on it, the English dub took to the British accent that has spawned tons of memes, and it's just, infamous throughout the community, this Goku Black Rose English dub voice, this British tone, this British accent sort of voice. And that received negative feedback, and I think it was the only thing that they could really do, because they can't really do a subtle tonal change, especially since they didn't know the source material, so yeah. Anyway, an update right before DLC Pack 6 was available. which actually updated both the Goku Black voices to match with the English dub. And talking about the Dragon Ball Super English dub, in episode 47, the first episode of the Future Trunks arc, Goku Black has a gruff voice. It's not the British voice, it's not the Super Saiyan 4 gruff voice like we saw in the pre-ordered bonus for Xenoverse 2. It was sort of just a sinister Goku tone. It was the closest you could get to Sean Schemmel doing a Masako Nozawa impression of, Goku Black, the base form. It was the closest they could do, probably. So, episode 47, they had the gruff sort of voice, not Super Saiyan 4, but not really sort of that gruff. It was just kind of in between. So episode 47, but as the anime continued, that's where the sort of British accent sort of funneled through, which I don't mind. I like that there's a transition between Goku Black's base form to Rose. I like how there's a build-up in that, and I've talked about that in length with Chaos Kingdom on a video, on like a 25-minute video or something like that. It might be 20 minutes, so I urge you to check that out, us discussing Goku Black's Super Saiyan Rose voice in more depth, so I'll leave a link in the description so you can watch that, but that's not really what the video's about. This is just basically a comparison and a history lesson of the Goku Black and Zamasu voice. So in the dub, there was a transition, but in Xenoverse 2, there was just the Super Saiyan 4 Goku Black voice, and then the Super Saiyan Rose voice. There was no transition, obviously, since it's a video game, but with the anime, they had a chance to make an actual transition. So when Goku Black turns into Super Saiyan Rose, there's still a bit of an accent and tone change, but it's more suitable because there's an actual proper build-up and transition. This was all pre-DLC Pack 6, by the way, where they updated both Goku Black voices so it fits more of the dub. So that's Goku Black's history in a nutshell, basically. So let's move on to Zamasu. Now, Zamasu in the Xenoverse 2 dub, he sounded very old. He sounded like a master, actually, like a Kaioshin that should be mastering an apprentice Kaioshin rather than Zamasu, who is an apprentice Kaioshin. So it was kind of weird, and he sounded very old and kind of like Obi-Wan Kenobi. But yeah, so that was Xenoverse 2. But in the Dragon Ball Super dub, Zamasu's voice sounds very elegant, very soft-spoken, and quite psychopathic, which suited the character quite well, and like I said, in Xenoverse 2, he sounded off due to probably the lack of instilled voice direction, proper voice direction for the Xenoverse dub, so that's why there was no really concrete direction, as with Dragon Ball Super, the dub, they have to have direction since it's a, televised anime, it's a televised dub. But anyway, yeah, Zamasu's voice is very soft-spoken, it's very elegant, and quite psychopathic. So, this is where the Rose Goku Black voice and the Zamasu voice kind of contrast. Since Goku Black, when he turns into Super Saiyan Rose, he sounds pompous, he sounds over the top. He kind of has an over the top attitude and voice about this, an over the top demeanor, where Zamasu, at least right now, because when he turns merged Zamasu and kind of loses his mind in the latter portion of the arc, we could see a change, but for right now, Zamasu kind of has a subtle, more soft-spoken tone, while Goku Black, even though he has the similar British accent, he has the over-the-top villainous accent, while Zamasu, he sort of has the soft-spoken tone because he's a psychopath. He kind of sounds like the least likely suspect to commit mass genocide, sort of that type of voice, while Goku Black, Rose has the, oh yes, I'm British, I'm over the top. It sounds like a stage drama, it sounds like a theatre play with his accent. While Zamasu, when his mind starts to shatter and he starts to go insane, I cannot wait when he has those over-the-top outbursts and he starts monologuing to himself. I cannot wait when James Masters does that, and I will definitely cover that in another video. But that is the core difference between Rose, at least, and Zamasu. the voices are, the voice tones are very different. Zamasu is soft-spoken, elegant, and Goku Black has sort of this over-the-top, haha, like villainous movie voice, which is quite interesting because that might play a role in Zamasu as he loses his mind in the other parts of the arc that we haven't seen yet because they are, they haven't aired yet. So yeah, the Goku Black Rosé voice and Zamasu have a lot in common, and even though that Sean Schemmel's comment is incorrect about, on the AMA about Goku Black and Zamasu, they still have kind of similar voices. Why exactly? Well, I don't think it's because of Schemmel's reason why Sabat chose to do this. I believe that Sabat saw, Nozawa do Goku Black Rosé, and he was basically like, okay, this doesn't really translate well into English, so rather than just giving him the Rosé voice right off the bat, let's just sort of gradually transition into it. So, yeah, and you can see this in Dragon Ball Super Episode 59, with Goku Black's base form still sounding rather British, still sounding rather gruff though, sort of in between, and then Super Saiyan Rosé sort of upping the tonal change and basically giving a British accent. Now this may piss off a lot of people that they still have the accent, that he still has the accent, but that's basically the best they could have done in terms of keeping it faithful to the original with having the with the tonal change with Rosé, and having it fit with the English as well. That has basically been a comparison with Goku Black and Zamasu's voice, and basically the history with the dub. I find the Goku Black English dub voice to be far more fascinating of a history lesson than Zamasu, since Zamasu's voice, it just kind of, I believe the whole thing about the Zamasu voice is that it's sort of similar, but since they have the source material to actually, look into and research, and they actually have scripts detailing his personality traits and all that stuff, they have a better understanding of the character, so I think that's what it is. With Xenoverse and Fighters and all of the video games, they don't have, well, for new characters at least, they don't have backstories in front of them. They don't have the Dragon Ball Super episodes in front of them, so they have to kind of do a bit of guesswork. So, yeah. Did you like this comparison, history lesson, whatever you want to call it? Let me know in the comment section down below. Please rate, comment, and subscribe, and tell me which voice you find better. The Goku Black Rosé voice, the Goku Black base form voice, or Zamasu. I'm talking specifically about the Dragon Ball Super dub voice, not the pre-Dragon Ball Super, Xenoverse 2, Dragon Ball Fighters sort of voices. And by the way, I'm actually glad that the update right before DLC Pack 6 was available, they actually updated Goku Black's voice. I thought that was a really neat touch, and not a whole lot of people are talking about that, but I think it's quite cool that they went ahead and fixed it to make the Dragon Ball Super dub and the Xenoverse 2 dub more consistent. But they didn't do that with Hit and Aaron Roberts. It's kind of weird because in DLC Pack 6 and, the DLC packs after the initial Hit reveal, him being in the game, the subsequent DLC packs, they kept Aaron Roberts, even though that Matthew Mercy plays Hit in the dub. So it's a little weird, but although maybe they're just keeping it for consistency with the Xenoverse 2 line of DLC. I don't know. What do you guys think in the comments? I really want to hear what you guys have to say, like I said before. That's going to do it for me. Please make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe. And, of course, as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye.